Hi, Dr. Morey, Uncivilized Vitality, the book recommendation list. So I think this is the second one, and actually I won't start numbering them. So this one, I want to recommend a few books instead of just one book at a time, because that'd be very difficult. I keep thinking about different books I want to talk about. So I'll do like maybe a category and do 2 or 3 books at a time. Today's category will be philosophical or spiritual inspiration. And obviously these books aren't this list is not exhaustive. You can read many other books. But I want to talk about a few that if I had to grab just a small stack of books to run out with, that would help kind of supplement the Uncivilized Vitality, philosophical underpinnings. These would be those books I grab. I actually keep a copy of this stack of books here in the office and at home where I can grab them if I had to run out. And in no particular order, these are books that you could read through to get philosophical inspiration. Think of philosophy as a way to live life, and there are obviously different religions, mythologies, codes, and such. But these are some books I have found throughout my life, 50-some years, very interesting. First one up, Aesop's Fables. Get yourself a copy. Try to get a complete copy of Aesop's Fables. Read through there. You hear these all the time. This would be from ancient Greece. You've heard some of these expressions that come from, like, people say, oh, sour grapes, or, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, that sort of thing. They all originate in Aesop's Fables. They're very tiny little stories. Wolf in sheep's clothing, the mouse and the bull, the hare and the hound, the rabbit and the rabbit and the tortoise, you know, slow and steady wins the race. The boy who cried wolf. All those things that are very familiar to us in our daily expression come from Aesop's Fables. Get you one of those. Next up would be a copy of what's known as the Dhammapada. The Dhammapada is kind of the Buddhist collection of the sayings and teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Indian prince who became the Buddha. The Dhammapada, that's get you a copy, it's a little pocket copy. There's several different versions of this. Dhammapada, that's a good one. Sticking with the Eastern philosophical source, another good one that I highly recommend is The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. He was a Japanese sword saint, one of the earliest sort of samurai or Bushido code, but the Book of Five Rings is incredible. People talk about Sun Tzu and the Art of War a lot. Not a big fan of the Art of War. Read it. It's not as good as the Book of Five Rings, in my opinion. So check that out, Miyamoto Musashi. And then we're going to move into Stoicism. Tons of books to read in Stoicism. Seneca, anything by Seneca is good, but I find it a little not available to the first-time Stoic reader. So the easiest way to start would be something called the Enchiridion. The Enchiridion has the same root, chiro, meaning hand, like a chiropractor. So the Enchiridion is the handbook by Epictetus. This is a collection of, you can get many, again, just like with the Dhammapada, you can find lots of different versions of this. This one's translated by George Long. The Enchiridion is the handbook. And then any of the versions of Meditations or the Emperor's Handbook, or any of the collections of the writings of Marcus Aurelius, one of the Roman emperors. He was a huge source of Stoicism. So Meditations and Enchiridion for my Stoic people that enjoy the Stoicism. Then we're going to get into a couple more. An obvious one would be the Bible, especially the New Testament. You owe it to yourself, even if you are not particularly religious or haven't gone to Sunday school since you're little, to keep a copy of the Bible around for reading and reference. One way or another, it is the foundation of so-called Western civilization. So you're going to want to know that. There's a lot of, just like Aesop's Fables, there's so many things that are biblical references that we're not aware of in our day-to-day life. And since ritual and story are vital, our communication first principle number one, the Bible is going to be vital to understand for understanding the Western rituals and stories. The Havamal. Now this is the Havamal is this particular one's called the Wanderer's Havamal. This is a translation and a version by Dr. Jackson Crawford, who has a very enjoyable YouTube channel. He is a professor of Norse literature, Norse languages, Norse mythology. I think he's at University of Colorado. That might not be accurate. Dr. Jackson Crawford, and he came out with this version of the Havamal, which is to the people that follow Norse religions or are interested in Norse mythology, Odin, Thor, Tyr, Frey, Freya. In that pantheon, the Havamal is the sort of the book of how to get by in life. It's divided up into different verses. And the cool thing about this version, the Wanderer's Havamal, is Dr. Crawford has put the Old Norse and then the English on the opposing page. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then another one you might not think of as necessarily a philosophical book, but it is Morey Feldenkrais, Awareness Through Movement. So this is an excellent book. This is a book I have read over and over and over in different ways. And it's not just about physical activity or exercise. There's just a lot to this book. So these would be my recommendations. These are books I've read over and over and over and get something new nearly every time. So let's start with reviewing again. A good copy. I use the English Standard Version, ESV Bible edition. Morey Feldenkrais, Awareness Through Movement. Actually, anything by Feldenkrais is awesome. Quality copy of the Havamal. This is Dr. Jackson Crawford's Wanderer's Havamal. A quality copy of the writings of Marcus Aurelius, typically called Meditations or the Emperor's Handbook. Staying with the Stoics, the Enchiridion. Enchiridion by Epictetus. Miyamoto Musashi, Book of Five Rings. A good quality copy of the Dhammapada, or sort of the Buddhist or Zen Buddhist handbook. And then going back to the ancient Greeks, Aesop's Fables. Now, there are more philosophical books I recommend. Obviously, I just wanted to I'll throw a chunk of books into each video and we'll go through there. I have a lot of source material for Native American and other uncivilized or pre-civilized groups that I'll share in future videos. So check those out. That'll give you something to read for the next week or so. And then those are books you can read over and over and glean information every time you read them. So check those out and then stay tuned for the next book recommendation video.